Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he stand by all his statements?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, I do stand by all my statements, and by that I include bank statements.
Order. Supplementary question, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Order. I want to hear the question.
Does he stand by a statement that one of the three problems with Solid Energy was that, quote, they added gearing to a company that historically had not had gearing? Or is Tony Ryle right when he said that debt was not the cause of Solid Energy's problems?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, both are correct. In the case of Solid Energy, debt didn't cause the collapse of the company, but if there wasn't debt, the government wouldn't have to be in the restructuring process that we're in.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Did his Minister of Finance approve the sending of a letter to Solid Energy indicating his expectation that it would, quote, increase their gearing from then current levels?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, my understanding is Simon Powers, the Associate Minister of Education, actually sent it, not the Minister of Education, yes. And that looks pretty consistent from what I can see with the letter that Mr Mallard sent, where he said that the indications were that the gearing should be around about 35% and in fact that the dividend should be around about 65% of profits.
A supplementary question, the Honourable John Banks.
Mr Speaker, when the Prime Minister said it was unfortunate that Mr Shearer forgot to disclose to Parliament more than 50,000...
Order. I don't believe I need assistance, but the Prime Minister certainly has no responsibility for that matter. Further supplementary question. Supplementary question. Point of order, Honourable.
Have two supplementaries today?
Well, I've ruled that one out.
No, you ruled it out. You let him ask it and you ruled it out. At that point, it's gone. You're not inviting him. You did not invite him to rephrase it.
Okay. Order. There is one supplementary. It has been used up. It was ruled out of order. If the member wishes to have another supplementary, he'll have to seek leave to do so.
Point of order.
Barry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, while it was pretty clear from the few words that Mr Banks got out, the Honourable John Banks got out,
I've ruled.
I realise you've ruled. I just want to get a clarification about where we're going from here. So while it was clear that Mr Banks was going to raise a matter that's been of interest in the news recently, and you were quick to then suggest, and in fact ruled out, assuming that there was no link to anything the Prime Minister had said, and on other occasions, notably over the last few weeks, you've given opposition members an opportunity to rephrase their questions up to 3 times. Would it be possible for Mr Banks to get similar treatment?
And I thank the member for his assistance. On this occasion, I have ruled we will move on. The experienced member raised a question which clearly wasn't going to be in order, so he's lost that opportunity. He sought leave. The House has the opportunity to so decide and has done so. A point of order. Right, Honourable.
This is not to challenge your ruling because I want to discuss the fact that Mr Banks sought leave. Now, if he'd have gone on to explain that he wanted to talk about the Kim.com affair, he would have got leave.
Order. And that is not a point of order. Further supplementaries, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, can he confirm that the financial performance measures for SOEs, including Solid Energy, announced in June 2010, explicitly tells boards that they would be judged according to their gearing ratio and that the Crown expected a gearing ratio of around 40%?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaking from memory, that reflects, I don't have the letter, but from memory that reflects the letter that was sent. I think it's also worth recalling, Mr Speaker, that Mr Palmer, the chairman of Solid Energy, actually wrote back to Mr Power and made it quite clear that gearing ratios and matters of the balance sheet were for the sole preserve of the company and not the government.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he agree with the December 2008 Treasury report that the appointments to SOE boards are the single most important lever that ministers have for influencing SOE performance?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I'm not sure I'd say it's the single most important. I think it's a very important lever and that's one of the ones that this government has followed by making, I think, pretty sound appointments where possible. But there are other levers, of course, the government can pull.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
If his government is so dissatisfied with the board's approach, as he's suggesting, why did it reappoint five of the members after 2008 and reappoint the chair, John Palmer, not once but twice?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, the member is giving different time scales on what's taken place. Well, he gets confused with numbers, I tell you that for nothing. But anyway, Mr Speaker, there are different time scales, but what is quite clear...
Order. Would you allow the Prime Minister to please answer the question?
Mr Speaker, what is clear is that during a period of time, the company, in this case Solid Energy, had aspirations to change the fabric of that company into something far greater and far more audacious than was the case of the government. In the case of the government, we pushed back on those issues. That didn't mean we didn't have faith in the board, but what it did say is we didn't agree with the plan they were under. When we ultimately went through the mixed ownership model and had the scoping study, it was at that point we absolutely determined that there were bigger issues in terms of that company if we were going to go through the mixed ownership model with that company.
Supplementary question, David Shearer.
Does he seriously expect New Zealanders to believe that the government demands that the company increases its debts, promises to judge the company on that debt, and then when the company's debt increases by $178 million in a single year, somehow says that these are all somehow unrelated events?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, what is true with Solid Energy is that the board and management have sole responsibility for the quality of decision-making that they make in terms of investments. What's also true was we didn't demand an increase in gearing. We followed exactly the same process that Trevor Mallard did, which were the recommendations from Treasury, and the company made it clear they would make their own decisions. In the end, if the member is wanting... Well, the member's been running around the country saying the problem is we want dividends. Well, for months beforehand, he was saying the great thing about SOEs is they pay dividends. I mean, you can't have it both ways, Mr Shearer. You can't have it an account in New York and an account in New Zealand, you know.
Supplementary question?
Supplementary question. No, sorry, point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, you earlier ruled one area of questioning out. The Prime Minister started off out of order. You brought him back into line and he finished up out of order. And I wonder whether, sir, this is an indication of new standards, and if so, whether they'll apply to both sides. The
last part of the Prime Minister's answer was certainly not helpful to the order of the House. Further supplementaries? A further supplementary? Order. 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 Supplementary question, Materia Ture.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, tēnā koutou I te whare. When the Prime Minister said yesterday that today was not D-Day for Nova Pay, when can New Zealanders expect a decision on Nova Pay such that they will have confidence that schools will no longer be burdened with this failed system?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, can the member please give the date when I actually said that statement? I don't recall saying it.
Well, in the question, she said it was yesterday, as I understood. Does the member want to repeat the question for the benefit of the Prime Minister?
I said it. The member can tell me when I said it.
And that's a satisfactory answer. That's
Supplementary.
Authenticated.
Right Honourable John Banks has a point of order.
Mr Speaker, you've just asked if the member wants to rephrase the question.
No, I thought the Prime Minister needed to rephrase. He has said he disagrees with the question. We're moving on. He has satisfactorily answered it.
Mr Speaker.
Further supplementary?
Yes, thank
supplementary you. Question, Materia Ture.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. When can principals, teachers and families expect from his government either a thumbs up or a thumbs down on Nova Pay? It's not too much to ask for some certainty for families.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, we're working our way through those issues. As the Minister announced today, the government is coming to the party with a significant cash offering to schools to try and help them through the process. Well, that was the botch up that you guys started. Actually, we'll just tidy it up.
Order.
But, oh, yeah, you don't want to hear about that, do you, Chippy? Anyway.
Order. Question number 4.
Point of order, sir.
Oh, point of order.
Point of order, sir. The Prime Minister did not address my question, which was
the Prime Minister very adequately addressed the question. Question number 4, Dr. Russell Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question